the end of the day, everyone in your life should serve a specific purpose. You just have to take the time to identify what that purpose is. And if you can't identify what that purpose is, then you don't need them in your life. What's up, bougie bosses? It's your girl, Kayla Simmons, and today we're going to be talking about how to assign your friends purpose, all right? And this is the first installment of our Let's Talk About Friendship series. This is the first self-development series on this channel. I'm super excited about it. If you watched this past Sunday's video, which I will link right up here, then you know that we also have an entrepreneurship series going on specifically for all my CEOs out there. So make sure to check that out if you haven't right after watching this video. So let's just jump right into today's topic. Friendship is something that I have struggled with for most of my life up until recently. And so I felt that it was important to share my journey about how I came from where I started to where I am now, and how to navigate your own friendships successfully. We all know that friendship is one of the most valuable things that you can have in this life, and it's essentially the baseline for any good relationships. You know, the most or the best romantic relationships, they are friends first, the closest family members. They are the ones that you actually like in addition to loving them, because we all know that there is a difference. You can love someone and not like them. And so those are the closest friendships, and so on and so forth. Although you shouldn't be too dependent on other people, I think we can all agree that it's a necessity. You all need someone to depend on sometimes. We all need those friendships. And so having a good circle around you is vitally important to navigating through life. I can honestly say with a clear conscience that my friend group now is solid. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it was not always this way, especially if you guys go back and watch the first story time video that I did, which I'll link up here, as well as the people pleaser guilt video that I did a little while back, or I think I did it a few weeks ago, towards the beginning of the launch. I will link that up here as well. I also talk about how I was essentially a doormat. So yeah, that had a lot to do with my friendships. They were very one-sided. They were very toxic. I was bullied a lot growing up. I was very timid naturally in a lot of my friendships. I've said this before. You all know this if you've watched my previous videos. And so that definitely played a role. I definitely had low quality friendships. But naturally, as I grew older, of course, I began to find more of my voice, develop more of a backbone. And a lot of this is attributed to me finding my purpose within this brand. There's just something about when you're given your vision, your life's purpose, that makes your vision not laser focused. And not only that, but it makes your tolerance level of BS essentially and unqualified, or rather, maybe that's kind of rude, not unqualified, but unequally yoked people. It makes your tolerance level for all of that just go all the way down, because you just don't have the time for other people's tolerance. Like if they're not going to get on your wavelength, then you gotta cut it. We're going to talk more about that next week, but so that had a lot to do with my elevation in friendships. My elevation in my self-development journey had a lot to do with my elevation in friendships naturally, right? However, I would be lying if I said that just because my self-development was improving and I was growing as an individual, that all my friendships were shooting to the top of the polls, honestly, because it's just not true. Even though I was elevating in life and I was honing in on my life's purpose, I still had some friendships that were lacking, if I'm being quite frank. For one thing, I couldn't understand why I always attracted the crazy people. And let me just clarify, when I say crazy people, I mean people who are always caught up in the messiest situations, always in some mess, always around some drama, always got some sort of issue or something going on. I'm talking about those sort of crazies, all right? A big reason why that was, looking back, I can now honestly say it was due to me being an empath. Honestly, I think a lot of people like that are just attracted to empathetic people because they know that they'll nurture them in a way that they want and kind of almost coddle them in a way, because I definitely coddled a lot of my friends, which is not a good thing, obviously. And so I think that had a lot to do with why they were attracted to me, or why I always attracted them. I was always the quote unquote mom of the group. Honestly, some of my friend groups now, I still am. And I don't mind it. I don't mind it. But the issue then was that I felt like I couldn't let my hair down or confide in them, just because, I hate to say it, it sounds so cocky, but it's just, I felt like a lot of times we just weren't on the same level, and I wanted to be able to not be so well put together. A lot of people who know me in real life, they know that I'm good at turning it on. You know, I carry myself very well. I'm very mature. I always have been. And it's something that I do take great pride in, because a lot of people have trusted me for it. I've built what I'd like to think is a pretty decent reputation because of my mannerisms. And so I definitely like that about myself. However, no one wants to be put together all the time. And I just felt like I wanted that support that I was giving so many other people. I often used to wonder when the tables would turn and when someone would be able to do that for me. And I should also note here that not all of my friendships were unequally yoked. I did have a couple that were equally yoked and that I'm still friends with to this day. My best friend Shy, who I've known since I was 6 years old. We are like this, like she is on my mental. She's crazy, but she's the good kind of crazy in terms of her imagination, her dreams, her work ethic, the audacity to just go get it. We just here with it. I don't know. I call her my mental and emotional twin. We always call each other that, just because, I don't know, we're just so equally yoked. It's just this unspoken thing with us. And so she's definitely solid. She's been in my life for a long time now. So it's not all bad. I did have a good few relationships, or friendships rather, but most of them were trash. So elaborating more about the friendships that I created more recently when I went away to college, obviously, like I said before, this was the time when I was given my vision and really started to hone in on what I want, who I am as an individual, which is what most people do when they go away to school. And even if you don't go away to school, this is just that age where you are discovering who you are as a person, this time period in, you know, a person's life. And so naturally, as I became more aligned with who I am and more confident in who I am, then by default, the relationships that I had also became a lot more well-defined. And sometimes that was a good thing, and sometimes that was a bad thing. So in terms of letting the other friendships go, I'm going to elaborate more about when to let go next week, in next week's video, and that's going to be a pretty good one. But just giving a brief overview somewhat, right now, I had to let go of those, and it came naturally, honestly, for most of them. I'm not gonna lie and act like there weren't any formal conversations that I had to have, because that's just life. You can't avoid confrontation all the time, but most of it happened naturally. It's just, y'all know, like, most of the people watching this video have grown out of friendships. It's no beef, it's no issue or anything. It's still, I wish you the best. It's just, we have different lives now. And not to say, obviously I have different lives from my friends, but it's just, we're just not aligned anymore. We just don't vibe the same way we do, and that is perfectly okay. And so just separating from those friendships, that's kind of how a lot of those played out. This is also where I met a big chunk of my friend group right now. Naturally, I met my other best friend, Amber, who I can't remember if I've mentioned her on this channel before, but my other best friend, Amber, who also has a YouTube channel, Amber Kashana, I'll link it in the bio. Go check it out. But Amber, I met her. I met Kat, who was my first college friend, actually. I met Haley, who was my first ever roommate, and I'm all still friends with them to this day. Now, let me also be clear, I made a lot of well, not a lot. I made a few bad friendships. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna link it up here. I definitely had some crazy experiences, okay? So it wasn't all peaches and cream when I went away to school. Let me just say that, all right? But for the most part, the friendships that I created, they're still solidified to this day. Now, I say all that to say, when looking back and reflecting, the reason for a lot of those failed friendships, a lot of those unequally yoked friendships was due to me trying to assign all of my friends as the all-around friend. Now, for those that don't know what the all-around friend is, this is the friend that you can go to for just about anything, and you guys are, at the core of the matter, aligned in terms of how you would respond or your thoughts or views. Now, granted, you're not going to agree on every single thing. If you expecting that, then just expect to not have any friends, because it's just not realistic. But at the core, you guys have the same morals, values, that sort of stuff. Your mannerisms are somewhat similar. You have something in common with them. And so that's what I mean. You can go to them for just about anything, and there will be some sort of link there. Naturally, this was an issue because that's just too much of a responsibility to place on every single person to expect them to be so well-rounded. And I mean that in the least offensive way. I really do. I don't mean to offend anyone when I say that, but it's the truth. You can't expect everyone to be so well-rounded in every area. It's very rare that you have all around friends. You're lucky if you have two, honestly. Let me provide a clear example. So, although there is absolutely nothing wrong with not going to college at all, there's nothing wrong with that at all, I can't expect my friends who didn't go to college to understand everything that I had to go through in school and all that comes along with that, because anyone who went to college, honestly, for the academic part is the easiest part of college, if we're being quite frank. I'll probably do a Let's Talk About College series later. I did that on the blog. I'll probably do that on here. So side note, be on the lookout for that. But it's a lot. It's a lot. And I can't expect for them to understand everything that I had to juggle. I can't understand for every friend to understand what it's like to be an entrepreneur and all the ins and outs that go along with that. And on the flip side, I have a lot of friends who are mothers. I can never understand. Of course, I hope to relate one day, not now, not now, one day, one day. I hope to understand and relate one day, but now I can't comprehend what that is like to have a whole life that you have to take care of, because that is a full-time job, 24/7, no contracts, no days off. You know what I'm saying? So I can't understand what that's like, and I wouldn't understand what that's like. And so they just have a different set of responsibilities that I do, and vice versa. And so it's important to take all of that into account when it comes to assessing your friendship. I also want to clarify, if I didn't make it clear enough, or you just didn't draw that conclusion, that you don't have to have identical lives with someone for you guys to be equally yoked or have a high quality friendship. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that you need to understand everything that person comes along with in order to have a high quality friendship. Once I had this epiphany, I swear things just became so much better for me, because my feelings wouldn't get hurt as much, because I understood now that they just weren't here in that area. And so your expectations are a lot lower. And a lot of times when people say that, it has negative connotation, but sometimes having low expectations can be a good thing, because like I said, you can't expect people to understand certain stuff. And so instead of placing unrealistic responsibilities on them, if you just take them for what they are, like if you're going to have this friendship with someone and you just take them for who they are, everything that they've got going on, and you don't place any more on them, then you're going to be a lot less disappointed. And so this is what happened with me. Once I had this clarification of, okay, your friends have roles. They each have a purpose in your life. Not everybody can have every purpose in your life in terms of what you need in a friend. So let's go through some of the different friend types that you may have. There is the intellectual friend who provides good conversation, smart conversation, and credible insight. There's the party friend. This is the person that you go out with. There's the leisure friend. This is the person that has similar interests and hobbies that you do. There's the goofy friend. This is the friend that makes you laugh. There's the school friend. This is the person that keeps you sane in the classroom, all right? The one who keeps you up to date on all the homework and notes in class, all that good stuff. There's the work friend, who is essentially the same as the school friend, just in the workplace as opposed to in the classroom. There's the entrepreneurial friend. This is the person that is a fellow brand owner and can relate to all things CEO, which if you don't understand what all that entails, go ahead and once again, I'm gonna plug it. Watch the video. I'm gonna link it up here that I posted this past Sunday. This list can go on and on. Y'all get the point. At the end of the day, everyone in your life should serve a specific purpose. You just have to take the time to identify what that purpose is. And if you can't identify what that purpose is, then you don't need them in your life. But we will tackle that in next week's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to comment down below your thoughts on today's topic. Also make sure to like this video, subscribe if you're not already, and click the bell next to it to be notified. I love you so much, Bougie Bosses, and I will see you next time. Bye.